Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ Riesinger. Janelle has the night off. Sunday's big hailstorm took quite a toll, but it wasn't just cars and homes that took a hit. The hail also killed and injured thousands of waterfowl there at Big Lake northwest of Billings near Molt. And Montana Fish and Wildlife Parks biologists found the dead birds in and around Big Lake Wildlife Management Area, and there were a lot of them. Q2's David J. has more from FWP.
Well, Russ, Fish, Wildlife and Parks says hail was as big as golf balls and baseballs with 70-mile-per-hour winds. And the hail took about 25 to 30% of the bird population at the Wildlife Management Area. It's estimated more than 11,000 birds died near and around the lake. FWP says about 50,000 have lived on the lake and the island. The island in the middle of the lake is home to many types of birds, including ducks, Canada geese, double-crested cormorants, shorebirds, gulls, and pelicans. This FWP video of the 4,000-acre lake is about a week before the storm, and when the storm hit on Sunday, there was no place for the birds to hide or fly.
Biologists have been out there looking at it, trying to assess the damage. They think that there are between 11 and 13,000 dead birds, or birds that are so severely injured that they aren't going to last very much longer. Broken wings, big bruises, inability to get around.
Bob Gibson says there are not many scavengers in the area, and FWP is keeping a close watch on botulism from the decay. As for wildlife management, biologists expect the bird population to be fine since about 70 to 80% survived the hailstorm. Russ?
All right. Thank you, David. Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire joining us now. Bob, you've got a little more information about that storm that hit us so hard.
Yeah, it was moving very slowly, and that was the problem, especially around the Molt area. Let me show it to you on the Doppler radar. We got here in super slow motion for you. And as you can see, there's the entire thing as it made its way through. It made its way into the Molt area about 6:15, and then it hung around for quite a while. You'll notice it made it into the Billings area shortly right around 7. So look at all the heavy rain out of that. But let me show you the hail track. Take a look at this thing. Watch it as it makes its way across Molt. It gets there about 6:15, and then it lasts all the way to almost 7 o'clock. That's a long time for that hail to be flying down. And then it continued to push its way across Acton into Shepherd. So this was a really nasty hailstorm. What we did here is about 2-inch hail, or some cases 2 3/4 inches. That's like baseball size hail. And there were several reports of even up to softball size hail over in the Molt area. It was just a monster hailstorm. Our weekend weather looks kind of wet. We'll chat about that coming up in a few more minutes.
All right, thank you, Bob. U.S. Customs computers are starting to come back online tonight after the system suffered an outage for hours across North America. Airports tweeted alerts warning of long delays as passengers were processed manually. Cause of the problem is yet to be determined, but Customs and Border Patrol said it doesn't appear to be malicious in nature. One traveler in Washington, D.C. estimated thousands may have been waiting in line with her to go through Customs. Officials say officers were able to maintain security standards while screening people manually. Now, Customs and Border Patrol processed an average of more than 350,000 air passengers a day last year. Wall Street closed a wild week with a rally today. The Dow gaining more than 300 points, but for the week it still lost 1.5%. And that may signal worries ahead for President Trump. Paula Reed tells us he's betting on a strong economy to win a second term.
Despite a roller coaster week for the Dow and some worrisome economic indicators, President Trump continues to insist all is well on the economic front.
I think we're going to have a very long period of wealth and success.
But the president's trade war with China and sagging economies in Europe and South America have rattled the markets and stoked fears of a recession. A major warning sign for the president, who sees a strong economy as key to his re-election.
You have no choice but to vote for me because your 401ks, down the tubes, everything's going to be down the tubes.
According to the president, both the media and the Federal Reserve are working against him and holding back the economy. In recent days, the president has phoned Wall Street CEOs to discuss the markets. Many in the business community are worried. 2/3 of the CFOs surveyed by Duke University expect a recession by the end of next year.
Markets and businesses are starting to think that the president may not really have an end game here.
Michael Strain is an economist at the conservative think tank AEI.
The president has been insistent that China is bearing the economic burden of the tariffs, when of course there's lots of good research that shows that U.S. consumers are facing higher prices for certain products.
Historically, presidents seeking re-election have, of course, been helped by a strong economy and hurt by a weak economy, though President Trump has defied conventional wisdom before. Paula Reed, CBS News, Berkeley Heights, New Jersey.
Montana Governor Steve Bullock will be getting some much-needed face time in his bid for president. CNN will host an hour-long town hall with the Helena native on Sunday, August 25th at 4 o'clock. Bullock polled at 0% in the most recent poll conducted by the cable news giant. That town hall will be held in New York. CNN is reaching out to Democratic voters in the region, asking them to submit questions for the governor. Bullock's town hall will be directly followed by a town hall for New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, who is polling at just 1%. Right now, Joe Biden leads that poll, backed by 22% of the polling population. State program meant to lower health insurance premiums for Montanans buying on the individual market has been approved now by the federal government. The Trump administration this week okayed Montana's new health reinsurance pool, effective for the next 5 years. That plan, passed by this year's legislature, will act as a backstop to cover portions of expensive health care claims on policies bought on the individual market. That market affects about 50,000 Montanans. State Auditor Matt Rosendale said the pool has already led to lower premiums proposed for 2020. Governor Bullock also praised the program, which will be funded by a small charge on total health insurance premium volume in the state. Bullock vetoed similar legislation in 2017. Continuing the trend of growth on the west end of Billings, Jersey Mike's Subs will soon add another place to grab a bite at Shiloh Crossing. The sub shop is expected to open in mid-September at 1020 Shiloh Crossing Boulevard. This will be the first Jersey Mike's in Billings and the second location in Montana. Around 25 employees will be hired to staff the new sub shop. Franchise owner John Wagner is looking forward to helping out local nonprofit groups. The Jersey Mike's grand opening will benefit Tumbleweed, a Billings nonprofit that exists to help homeless teens.
We're going to give away between 8,000 and 10,000 sub coupons, and we're going to ask for a $2 donation. So if you get one of those coupons and you come into the store during that first week we're open, we're going to give 100% of that donation rate to Tumbleweed to help them support their program there.
Jersey Mike's has about 1,500 locations around the nation. A National Guard unit from Anaconda just got back from a mission to help Native American veterans in Crow Agency. MTN's John Amy tells us how it's all about making sure there's a roof over people's heads.
Anaconda's Army National Guard 230th Engineering Company work hard, and they're proud of their work.
That's something that if we come back years from now, we can be like, we built this, we did that, we helped somebody. It's awesome.
The unit spent nearly 2 weeks in eastern Montana on the Crow Agency, building homes for Native American veterans and repairing homes that suffered weather damage.
If it was hail damage and then just some wind blowing off the siding, it wasn't super good siding, so a lot of it needed to replace.
The company took pride knowing that their efforts were helping fellow veterans.
Most people don't realize that Native Americans actually have some of the highest participation rates of any demographic in the military. So it feels really good to reward people who have been so loyal to our country and kind of give back to those in turn. It's a very rewarding cycle.
And what also made this work rewarding for this Anaconda Guard unit is all the positive feedback they got from the community.
We had a lot of people stop. People would stop in their cars and just say out the car window, hey, you're doing a great job. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Always ready, always there. In Anaconda, John Amy, MTN News.
Crow Agency presented the Guard unit with their flag as a gift of appreciation. Still to come on tonight's 10 o'clock news, tomorrow will be the 60th anniversary of the largest earthquake ever recorded in the Rocky Mountains. We'll look back at the impact it had on the community of West Yellowstone. And in sports, are the football guys at West on track to repeat as AA champions? Scott checks in with them on the first day of camp.
You're watching MTN News with Janelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.